Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to this video. I'm Venkat and this is just me an open source channel. Right, in this video we're going to be looking at Istio with Grafana installed. So in my previous two videos, in the first video actually, I showed you how to install Istio binary and then Istio resources in your Kubernetes cluster. And in the second video, in the previous video, I explained how to deploy a sample book info application, which we'll be using throughout this series, at least for the next 5 or 6 videos, and then I'll move on to Kubernetes topics. Okay, so this Istio series is part of Kubernetes, and I've planned like 6 or 7 videos. So two videos already uploaded and released, and this is the third video. And in this video, let's see how to install Istio with Grafana as an add-on. So I'm going to be following the same steps as I followed in my previous two videos. So I'm going to be going through that very quickly. And if you've got any questions or any doubts, I would advise you to follow my previous videos because I've explained much in those videos. So I'm going to be running through everything quickly to set up Grafana and Istio along with the sample book info application. Okay, cool. So I've got my cluster. So to follow this, you need a Kubernetes cluster and Helm installed and MetalLB or any type of load balancing solution. If you're running your cluster on any cloud providers, then you don't have to worry about MetalLB load balancer. If you just specify load balancer in the cloud platform, it's going to set up a load balancer for you, so you don't have to worry about MetalLB. And for those of you who are following cluster or provisioning cluster in bare metal, then you have no other option other than to use MetalLB, although there are other options. In my series, I've shown MetalLB, so stick with MetalLB, or if you've got any working load balancing solution, feel free to use that. Okay, so let me show you my Kubernetes cluster. kubectl version minus minus short. So I'm on version 1.15.0. The Kubernetes cluster I've provisioned is through kind Kubernetes in Docker. So everything is running as a Docker container. I used to use Elixir for Kubernetes provisioning, but this one seems to be very quick and responsive and taking up less resources. Docker PS, so those are my three nodes. kubectl get nodes. So I have three nodes, one master and two worker nodes. All of them are Docker containers. So this is Kubernetes in Docker. If you want to know how this works or how to set this one up, I've done a video on that as well. Please search in my playlist in my channel. Otherwise, I can point you in the right direction. And I've got Helm installed. So Helm list. And I've also got MetalLB installed. kubectl get namespace. So I have MetalLB installed in the MetalLB system namespace. So I've got all the requirements. So now I'm going to um, go ahead and set up Istio in my Kubernetes cluster. cd to play directory, cd to Istio. So this is from my previous two videos. I've already downloaded Istio and moved Istio binary to user local bin. Istio CTL version enable. Istio CTL minus minus version. Nope. Okay, don't worry, I've got Istio CTL installed. Istio CTL minus minus help. So there you go, we've got Istio CTL. But if you want to know how to install it, please follow my previous videos. Or the command is this one if you want to get started quickly. Curl minus L and the URL to grab the script, https git.io/get latest istio, and then pipe that to your shell script, pipe that to your shell interpreter, and then it will download and install Istio. And you have to move Istio binary into your path, or you can put it wherever you want, and you need to make sure to add that to your environment path variable. Okay, so we've got Istio installed. So now we need to install Istio in our Kubernetes cluster. Okay, let me open up another terminal here. Watch, watch kubectl get pods. There are no pods here. Watch kubectl minus n Istio system get pod. So this is where all our Istio resources are going to be deployed. Let's go ahead and do that. Helm install install. So you have to be in the Istio folder where you have downloaded Istio, and in there install Kubernetes Helm Istio init minus minus name Istio init, and we are going to do that in the namespace Istio dash system. Okay, so there you go. So we have three jobs, and these are the three pods created. So Istio init is just a preparation kind of thing. It's just a setup. It's a pre requirement. Before installing Istio, it sets up something and then it creates lots of custom resource definitions. It prepares your environment for Istio. So let's wait for this to complete. And if I do get all, you can see there are three jobs that does the actual work of setting up your Kubernetes cluster, deploying needed resources for running Istio. So once this is complete, we are going to install the actual Istio. So all these have been covered in my previous two videos. Okay, so let's wait for this to complete. Get pods container is getting created, and meanwhile I'm going to type the command for the Istio installation, which is, so this time Istio installation command is going to be slightly different than the previous two videos, because in the previous two videos we deployed just Istio. So this time we are going to deploy Istio along with Grafana add-on. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Helm install. So that one is complete, by the way. All jobs have been completed. Helm install Kubernetes Helm Istio minus minus name is Istio. Namespace, again, we are going to deploy these resources in the same namespace, which is Istio system minus minus set grafana dot enabled equals true. So this one is very important. So if you watched my previous videos, the command is exactly the same without the last option here. So now we are deploying Istio along with the Grafana add-on. So Grafana is used so we can monitor the graphs. We can monitor the CPU utilization, network utilization, all sorts of metrics. Not only for the Istio components, we have the Istio components like Galley, Citadel, Pilot, Mixer, proxy, Envoy proxy, and so on. So Grafana, using Grafana, we can monitor not only the Istio resources, but also our actual workloads. In our case, it's going to be the book info sample application. Okay, so I'm installing that one, and in the bottom you can see it's deploying all the resources, and here you can see Grafana. Prometheus comes with Istio, not a problem. So all the metrics are connected to the Prometheus. And the mixer component, if you remember the first video where I shown the architecture of the Istio, there's the mixer component that collects all the metrics, and Prometheus grabs the metrics from the mixer component. So we got Prometheus installed by default, set up by default as part of Istio deployment. And we have to enable Grafana by setting minus minus set grafana.enabled equals true. So there we go. We've got Grafana, Citadel, Galley, Ingress Gateway, all the custom resource definition jobs, pilot, policy, sidecar, telemetry, and so on. So I'm going to pause the video here because it's going to take like a couple of minutes for all the pods to be running, and then I'll come back when it's ready. All right, so all the components are up. Yep, everything is up. Okay, I'm also going to deploy the sample book info application so that I can show the graphs in the Grafana. Okay, Control C, watch kubectl get all. So this one is for the default namespace. So as you remember from my previous videos, in order to inject the Envoy sidecars into your existing applications, you need to label the namespace where you're going to deploy your application so that Istio can inject those sidecars, right? So the command is kubectl label namespace default. So we are going to deploy the book info sample application in the default namespace. So I'm labeling the default namespace with Istio injection equals enabled. Istio dash injection equals enabled. Okay, so that's done. Kubectl get namespace minus minus show labels. So default namespace has got this label enabled. So we are good to go. So again, within the Istio directory that we have downloaded, I'm going to deploy the sample book info application. So it's going to be like three commands. So the first command is going to deploy the book info sample, and the second command is going to expose. We're going to create an ingress gateway so that the application can be accessed from outside the cluster. And then the third command is to create the destination rule to route the traffic, so where the traffic goes to which version of the microservices and so on. So let's start the first command, which is kubectl create -f samples book info uh, book info networking platform. Yep. Kubectl create -f samples book info platform cube bookinfo.yaml. Okay, so it has deployed lots of resources, and down here you can see the pods getting initialized at the moment. So each of these pods, if you notice here, there are two containers here. So one is the Envoy sidecar container that the Istio has injected into it, and the other one is the actual container for these applications. Okay, so again, it's going to take a couple of minutes. I'm going to pause the video and come back when it's ready. All right, cool. So all our pods are now running. So we have deployed the book info sample application. It can be accessed within the cluster, but not from outside the cluster. So we need to expose the application outside of the cluster. So we are going to create a gateway. So there is a command here. We can use the sample manifest provided by Istio. kubectl create -f samples book info networking cube no networking bookinfo gateway.yaml. Okay, so gateway has been created, and finally we have to create the destination rules. kubectl create -f samples bookinfo networking destination rule all.yaml. So basically it creates a subsets destination, so the traffic will be routed to all the three versions of the reviews microservice. Okay, that's done. So let's have a look quickly if we can access the application. kubectl -n istio system get service istio ingress gateway. So I've used istio ingress gateway. I've used metal-lb as the load balancing solution. So my external IP is 172.17.0.200. If you follow the Istio documentation, and if you don't have a load balancing solution like metal-lb, you can still go with node port. So there's a documentation, there's a command that shows you how to run the Istio ingress gateway as a node port service. So you don't have to worry about not having a load balancing solution in your cluster. Okay, so let's try that. 172.17.0.200/product page. Cool. So we have our application running and we can access it from outside the cluster. Okay, cool. So that's one thing. And now let's go ahead and access the Grafana, the interesting part. kubectl -n istio system get service Grafana. So as you can see here, Grafana is running as a cluster IP type service. So it can be accessed only within the cluster, not from outside the cluster, although you can change that to node port service. You can either change the manifest file, or you can modify it now. kubectl -n istio system edit service Grafana, and you can change it from cluster IP to node port. So type is cluster IP. You can change that to node port. So I'm not going to touch that, but if you want, you can change that to node port. And it's cluster IP, and it's running in. Let's look at the port. Sorry, not that one. Service. Again, I'm doing the same command. kubectl -n istio system get service Grafana. kubectl -n istio system get service Grafana. Okay, so that's what I wanted, port 3000, right? So the other way to access the cluster IP service is through port forwarding. So let's do the port forwarding now. kubectl -n istio system port forward. So the pod name, so the pod is Grafana, and the port is 3000. I'm forwarding that to 3000 in my local host. Okay, so if I now access my local host colon 3000, I should be able to access the Grafana dashboard. Let's take a look. Local host colon 3000. Cool. So that's your Grafana dashboard. So it has been installed perfectly. And now let's go ahead and look at the dashboard. So if you click on Home and Istio, so these are the dashboards that comes with Istio. Galley dashboard, so that's specific for the Galley component of Istio. Mesh, there's a mixer component. It's a general performance dashboard. This dashboard is for pilot, service dashboard, and then we have the workload dashboard. So if you want to look at all your deployed workloads, not the Istio components, then this is the dashboard for that. Okay, let's go through them one by one. Istio Galley dashboard. Okay, so these are nice graphs, and you can see here Galley version. So we are using Galley version 1.2.3. So that's the Galley container image we are using in our cluster. Resource usage, this is specific to Galley component or the Galley pod, how much memory it's using, what's the CPU, disk, I don't know what that is, Go routines. Okay, so runtime, event rates, timer rates, and so on. Okay, let's look at other dashboards. Galley, let's look at performance dashboard. Okay, so memory and data rates, CPU, and we have Istio component version. So Galley 1.2.3, Mixer, Pilot, so everything is running version 1.2.3. If you ever wanted to update a specific component, you can see the graph here, which version we are using. Proxy resources, memory, CPU, disk, Pilot resource usage, Mixer resource usage. I think these are all combined into a single dashboard. Okay, so what else we can see? Pilot dashboard, service dashboard. Okay, zero ops. Okay, so this one here, it's not showing any graph because I think this is tied to the book info service. Because we're not accessing the book info service, I think we are not seeing any graph here. Let's try that. Before that, let's go ahead and look at the workload dashboard. So that's the workload dashboard. Details v1 default. Okay, so whatever it is, this graph is also empty because we are not accessing our deployed workload. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is where am I? Okay, so I'm going to use the curl command to generate some traffic to the product page, and then we can see the graph here. Curl, maybe in a watch command, watch curl minus yes. For silent minus O, I'm not bothered about the output, dev null, and I'm accessing 172.17.0.200, my load balancer IP, and the product page. Okay, so every couple of seconds, it's going to request the product page, and we should be able to see the graph here in a short while. So here it refreshes every 10 seconds. Okay, let's wait for it, and you should be able to see graphs here. Okay, there you go. Incoming request volume 0.3 operation per second, incoming success rate 100%. So our product page is working fine, so we don't have any problems with the product page, so that's why we are seeing 100% success rate. But if there is any problem, we can see the graph here. TCP server traffic, so this is HTTP traffic. I guess that's why you're not seeing the TCP graph here. Inbound workload, incoming request by source and response code. So this is 200. So based on the response codes, 200, 400, 404, 503, or whatever it is, based on that, you will see a graph here. Incoming success rate. So non 500 responses. So all responses that are non 500 responses, you can see the graph here. So it will give you a lot of meaningful insights into your application. So outbound service, there is nothing going out of the cluster. So we are just sending request into the cluster. So that's why you're seeing the inbound workloads, not the outbound workloads. So our curl command is working fine, and it's sending request every couple of seconds, and you see the graph here. Incoming request duration. Okay, cool. Okay, let's go back and see the service dashboard if you've got anything. I don't know what that means, but okay, cool. So now you've got the service dashboard as well. Okay, cool. All right, that's all I wanted to show you in this video. This is about adding the Grafana add-on to your Istio to look at insights into your Istio deployment or your application, the service mesh and everything. And in my next video, I'm going to be showing you a very interesting component called Kiali, which is a web interface. You can visualize the traffic. You can visualize everything, how the traffic is moving inside your cluster and within different microservices in a graphical form. And you can also control the Istio components from the web interface. So we'll be seeing all that in my next video. Stay tuned, and the component is called Kiali web interface. So it's again add-on like Grafana. The installation component, installation part is going to be the very same. I'll be adding just another option to include the Kiali add-on. So that will all be covered in my next video. So please stay tuned. If you've got any questions or comments, please leave me a comment. I should be able to get back to you at the earliest I can. And if you like this video, don't forget to share with your friends. They might be wanting it. They might be looking for some resources, but if you can, please share it with your friends, and then subscribe to my channel. As always, you'll get notified of my new videos. Right, thank you so much for your time watching this video. I will see you all in my next interesting video about Kiali. Bye bye.